Welcome, cadets.
Thank you, Cadet Master. I'm glad to be serving with you today.
We're switching up roles.
I think each one of us will get the Cadet Master baton at some point during this journey, because what is it to be a Cadet Master? I don't know, Rachel, could you tell me? What is it to be a Cadet Master?
Be in charge of cadets?
Is that it?
I think that's the main thing.
And maybe make bets on the occasion. Don't forget, that's an important part,
It's
is running the betting pool.
But it's not mandatory.
It's not it's one of those guidelines, you know. It's not written down, but we all
Aki
know.
also joins in on the betting, and she is not a cadet master.
But she didn't start it. That's the difference. Someone started it, and it was the Cadet Master. But I'm Ryan, and that's Rachel, and we are joined for our Star Trek Starfleet Academy journey by a real cadet. A real cadet, someone who is learning the ways of the Star Trek franchise through this series and through the podcast, where he may ask us some clarifying questions. Bartek, how are you doing?
Hey, like Jane Dobry and stuff. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
I'm doing fantastic. I've been looking forward to coming back here. We've been getting some nice responses from people for our Star Trek Academy show. Oh, wait, nope, Star Trek Starfleet Academy. It rolls off the tongue.
Get it right.
SFA is what the kids are calling it. That's an acronym.
Street Fighter Alpha?
Street Fighter Alpha is exactly what they're calling it. But we are here today to talk about the latest 2 episodes of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, episodes 5 and 6. We will be coming at this fully in depth, so if you have not had the chance to watch these episodes for yourself, listening people, make sure to do so, or you'll be spoiled. You'll find out that, I'm going to say it, Paul Giamatti returned in one of these episodes. And, yeah, he not only returned, but he had more metal on his hands. That's even weirder. He had more metal on his hands.
He promised that.
Yeah. I remember shortly after we did the first episode, I watched him on Stephen Colbert's show, and he talked about how, over the course of the season, I just get more and more metal on my hands.
Mm-hmm.
But, Rachel, how about you tell us all about the first episode we watched?
Sam is an emissary, which comes along with a lot of responsibility and visual effects. But will Sam learn what really happened to Cisco?
But Rachel, what does Sam stand for, and why is it the name of this episode as well? Do you remember what it stands for?
Series Acclimation Mil.
What an interesting episode of television. But there was an interesting moment in television overall. It was the yum yum moment from Star Trek Discovery, the thing that inspired this podcast in the first place. A sequence of events that led to a character asking another, hey, do you want to kill the major antagonist with me? It's like if, say, the Cadet Master in this show walked over to, I don't know, one of the cadets, let's say the one that eats the comm badge, and say, do you want to kill Paul Giamatti with me? And the comm badge cadet would lick her lips, throw her hair back, and say, yum yum. It's as bizarre as that, but in Discovery's context. So we love to look at moments within an episode and say, that there was the yum yum moment. That there stood out to me as strange, out of place, or just kooky. Bartek, what was your yum yum moment for Sam?
For episode 5, Sam, I did have a yum yum moment. It's one that, as the episode goes on, it becomes less weird, but when it happens, it kind of throws you for a loop a little bit.
Yes.
And it is a quote from a character. To tomato or not to tomato is a hot button issue in gumbo circles.
Thankfully, they clarify that issue as they go along. But it is a hot button topic. Rachel, did you have a yum yum moment?
I did, and it's a Colbert line.
He had so many.
He did.
It's a manly morning thing.
Yeah, it is. Be at the transfer point. Be at the transfer gates at 0600 hours tomorrow morning for some morning wood.
Don't forget the bit where afterwards he chuckles and he admits that was really funny and, oh, aren't I being a coy lad? My Yum Yum moment, it's hard to pick because this episode's so aggressive. This episode's got so many
A lot of
bells and
visual
whistles.
contenders.
Visual contenders. There's so many wacky lines of dialogue or scenarios we get in. But mine's a really small moment, a quiet moment. But it was a moment that Rachel and I connected with because it was the flow of the scene was clearly going this way, and then it somehow didn't, which was Chancellor Aki meets with the War College Chancellor, and they have a nice conversation, and he's in his own kooky scenario, and he has to deal with this diplomatic situation, and she says, hold on a second, let me make you some tea, which we know is his thing. He's a tea fetish guy. And he says, in just a very dry way, he just goes, oh, you wouldn't know where to start. But it was actually about the diplomacy thing and not about the tea.
Oh, I didn't consider that.
Mm-hmm.
When his whole existence is about being prim proper, knowing the etiquette and making of tea, and she doesn't give a fuck about it. That was established in one of the previous episodes. And so that was a yum yum moment for me because I felt like I was ahead of the writers in knowing their characters. But instead they were like, no, this is about the plot. This is a plot dialogue scene. This is about plot. So he's going to say, you wouldn't even know where to start. Yeah, the woman who's been in the Federation for hundreds of years wouldn't know where to start with diplomacy, sure.
That would have personally had these dinners.
But it's just so strange. It was just such a small moment, but it stood out.
It's making me think of The Dark Knight Rises when it's like, it'll be extremely painful. You're a big guy for you. It's like, what does that last line follow up from?
Exactly. So it's just a quiet little thing that could easily be overlooked, but I know these two characters, and I was disappointed that the writers went that direction when clearly it should be the other direction.
It was weird because I thought there was going to be like a follow-up to like her nailing the tea and him being surprised, but then there's just like no acknowledgement at all. Like she barely even makes the tea. It's like she just grabs a mug.
This episode was a lot. There's a lot to say. There's a lot of thoughts to be had with it. I loathed it. I hated this episode very much. I wanted to like this episode. I have been a defender somewhat of the character of Sam, and I've stated I would like to know what their story is. I would like to see their episode. And we got their episode, and
it made me not want to see them anymore.
Not just that, but it derails from what would be an interesting character thing to have a random B plot about whatever that was, and we'll talk about it, or to indulge in the past of the franchise. And so I just could not engage with this episode as much as I wanted to. I walked in saying, oh, this is an episode about Sam. I'm looking forward to it. And I walked out going, no.
It was trash. That's it. I'll continue to shit on it as we discuss further.
Wow. Short and sweet and to the point. Your general thoughts on this episode, Bartek?
I was generally into it. I actually acclimated to the comedy pretty well. Some of the plot stuff was a bit tricky to follow, but I think most of the exposition kind of gave me what I needed to know. But even when some things were established, like the constant repeating of these terms, I started to forget, like, okay, so wait, didn't this mean this kind of thing? So there was a little bit of confusion. But overall, I didn't hate it. I had a decent time with it.
What would you like to clarify?
So, this episode, I gather that this is following up on some lore established in Deep Space Nine?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard the name Cisco before.
Yes.
So that's a character from Deep Space Nine.
The lead character, yes.
Oh, lead character even.
Yes, he's the
captain.
He's the protagonist.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. They kept talking about what was his and Sam's title? They were the
emissary.
Not like prophets or something, but emissaries.
Emissaries.
The prophets are a species.
That is also God.
Yeah, and were they were called the prophets, right?
Yep, they were called the prophets.
Okay, you're right. So prophets, and then the
emissary.
Emissaries, right? And so are all emissaries the like hologram people?
No,
just Sam is.
Sam is
but emissary
an
is
emissary
for the holograms.
Mm-hmm.
And Cisco was one for the prophets.
Okay.
Because emissary is just a generalized term, right? Like we know in our everyday world. But Sam, being an emissary for her people, she's like, who should I look up to? Well, who's the most famous emissary in Starfleet? Benjamin Sisko, the lead character of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that ties in.
And is his son also a returning character, or is that new for this?
No, that's returning.
Same actor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sisko's whole deal was he was a widower with a child, and he moves to Deep Space Nine. He doesn't want to run it, but he eventually begrudgingly gets used to it. And he has a son, and his son is Jake Sisko. And Jake's whole thing was he didn't want to be a Starfleet officer; he wanted to be a writer. And his dad was
and he wrote
somewhat,
a book.
yeah, and he writes books and stuff. So, and then the voiceover at the end that ends the episode is the voice of the actor who plays Sisko, the legendary Sisko.
It felt like that would be what they do. Yeah.
And thank you, Avery. It's referring to the actor of
Okay,
Sisko.
yeah.
Avery Brooks is the actor who is so... I think you would love Avery Brooks as a man rather than an actor because he is so mysterious. He's so... like, he's done with acting. He's retired. He's done with Star Trek. Like, he does not engage with things. He's completely in his own isolated little bubble. He's into jazz. And that quote at the end was not something he recorded for this. It wasn't from Deep Space Nine.
Oh, okay.
It was from a spoken word jazz album that he did, and he licensed them to use it for this. So that's why if you ever go back and listen to it, the delivery is weird because it's supposed to be for spoken word.
It felt very like storybooky.
Yeah.
Like very different from like Sam's narration.
Only love can understand them. Only love can interpret these words as they were meant to be interpreted.
And the other question is, so this episode's about like a mystery. Is this a mystery that already has an answer, or is it like an ongoing kind of mystery? Like, or just something that's never been
It's never been
answered?
addressed because that's how Deep Space Nine ends.
Okay.
Deep Space Nine ends with Sisko ascending with the prophets, promising that one day he will return because he's a father. He's a father to Jake. He's like in a relationship with a woman who gets mentioned in this episode called Cassidy, and she's pregnant. And so he promises he will return. But that was the end of the show. Is he transcends. Jake Sisko looks out the window from Deep Space Nine, wondering what the future will be. And so
this wasn't like a Columbo. It's like, oh, I know what happened to him. Is Sam going to find out?
But this is the show being like, guys, Deep Space Nine ended on ambiguity. How about we get rid of that and have a character say, I don't like ambiguity because I'm a fan of Sisko. Like you, the viewer at home, you're a fan of Sisko. Look, there's a baseball in the Museum of Sisko. He liked baseball. Hey, look, there's Gumbo. His dad liked Gumbo. Like a lot of fan service.
There was,
stuff.
very like specific things. And like when they brought up the baseball, they specifically pointed out like, oh, it's because it's a thing of like strategy and stuff. And I just thought to myself like, ooh, if I'm ever in a museum, is my interests going to be, you know, described in a way to make it sound grand? Like he really liked RPGs.
Well,
because
would
he's
you,
empathetic.
if you disappeared and became like a god of an entire race of people, the answer would be yes to your question right there.
Yeah.
Because they even said they don't show pictures of him anymore in Bajor because they want him to be more godlike. And so the picture that they use in this show is a silhouette of Avery Brooks, but with like a shadowed out face, so he looks like a conspiracy theorist,
so that's,
thumbnail.
So that's how you can show Muhammad.
Yes, exactly, and that's how you can show Avery Brooks without getting his image in the show.
Right.
Yep.
And is the teacher an established character?
We can answer that for you, but when that happened, because that's a whole scene, and it's a payoff to an entire character that's in this episode whose character is to be vague. What did you get from that? Like, you're sitting there, you're watching it. Sam already knows the answer to this, and you don't. So what is that sequence of events like for you?
That, I will admit, was a little bit hokey. It did feel very out of nowhere. I couldn't remember if a mentor character was foreshadowed earlier.
Nope.
I didn't know what this character's like race or species was. I don't know if they were like a long-lived character. Throughout the episode, they seemed pretty dismissive of a lot of things, so it didn't feel like they were leading to a reveal that this character actually is like super in the know. The most I got there was that, you know, she's the one that had the yum yum line that I had for, the tomatoes, and it did seem like that came out of nowhere.
But then it's a reveal.
And then, like I said, later on it's established that, like, oh, she knew about the tomatoes, this thing that Sam's never read about. That means she has some inside knowledge.
Mm-hmm. So that was a bit of a vagueness. Now, Rachel, do you want to explain Dax?
Dax is a member of a species called Trill.
Trill.
And they are symbiotes. So they are the worms, like they're worm-like creatures that then live in other people's bodies. And then once that vessel dies, they are transferred to a new vessel, which is how they have extremely long lives. And why the teacher isn't immediately recognized as somebody who would know Cisco, but they keep the same last name.
So
Yes.
So we know that there was a Dax.
Mm-hmm.
So by not giving her last name and Sam, for whatever reason, not looking at her last name, it isn't able to be the reveal. And it is somewhat frustrating that it does it that way, because one of the really notable things about the Trill is that their hosts get spots on their skin that go all the way down.
Oh yeah, there was like move her hair reveal
And they
thing.
deliberately hide her spots so that it doesn't tip the hand to people.
And they
who are
hide them in a
familiar.
way that's bullshit because, well, there's multiple things. So the Trill also, like the symbiotes are the thing. The Trill are the people who live on the planet with the symbiotes and they connect with the symbiotes. Not everyone can connect with them because of...
So there are people and these parasites?
Yes,
Okay.
symbiotes.
Yep.
And the big thing in Star Trek was only the Trill can connect with the symbiotes. Other people can for a short time, but it will fucking kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So like when we meet them, Riker has to host a symbiote and he becomes the previous guy. And then it starts to fucking kill him. And so we've had other episodes like, oh, these people have to host Dax's symbiote, and they get the lives of the previous host start to take over their body, like shenanigans. This, though, is very weird because modern Trek's done this a bunch where they just go, who fucking cares? A human can have one. In this case, this teacher, her species, is a Cardassian, which is a beloved race as well. So that's another thing to throw off the viewer who know what the Trill are like. You look at her and go, well, that's not a Trill, because it's a Cardassian.
She
And then
can't have one. It
they
doesn't
can't
work that way.
But even if we did know that, the bullshit thing was the spots, which is the visual sign of the Trill, the species.
So
They go all the way down. They go from like the temple all the way down the neck, all the way down and all that. So it's very recognizable. So in this show, they did a bullshit dirty trick where her spots only go from the hairline through behind the ear, but you don't see anything else. It's like, oh, she just moves a little bit of her hair and goes, I'm a Trill. And I'm Dax.
You were so angry,
Well,
Ryan.
I was pissed off because it's a dirty trick. Because
you were like, that's dirty Paul!
It's dirty Paul!
That's dirty Paul!
They have this bullshit thing of like, you didn't learn my last name because that would have been obvious for the viewers like Ryan and Rachel who've seen Star Trek before.
that's where I could feel the hokiness. Like,
And-
hair reveal. Wait, your last name is this? It felt like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a reveal happening here that means something.
And then there's a bunch of nerdy bullshit on top of it that's like, oh, that's cheap. That's a cheap trick to pull. And then Dax was one of the main characters of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, okay.
So they weren't just the mentor, they were one of the main characters. And the fun of Dax was when you first start off Deep Space Nine, it's an old man and he's dying.
Mhm.
And you see the symbiote get transferred to a young woman. So then the young woman, Jadzia Dax, talks to Cisco because they were friends. But the old man was friends
Yeah.
with Cisco. So they have a buddy relationship, like smoking cigars and talking about how they used to fuck
Cisco
women
still
and all that.
calls
Him old
him-
man. Yeah, calls Jadzia old man.
Mhm.
Like, they have that type
Because
of
the
thing.
symbiote's like a male.
Yeah, well, the symbiote's
has
indifferent.
no gender.
It just-
Male coded though, because they're buds. Or
Yeah, they were buds.
Yeah, but it's like, it's that way because that was the version that Sisko got to know first.
Yeah.
It's like everybody else refers
And the symbiotes
by female pronouns.
The
I think.
symbiotes carry the memories of the previous hosts.
Right. So this character, the body is new, but the symbiote inside it is like, deep space.
So they have the irony of knowing everything about Sisko because they were Sisko's mentor and best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And they're hosting a class in which the mystery is who is Sisko. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I know who Sisko is because I actually fucking knew him.
So their dismissiveness was meant to be more like, ooh, mysterious. Like, what do they know?
But this was the thing I was curious about. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this episode that was very inside baseball, very in the know. And there are moments like that I wanted to interrogate you about.
The
because
teacher
I just
was
go,
the main part. Yeah.
Like, when Jake Sisko pops up and they have a whole scene where the Figment version of Jake is talking to Sam about Cassidy and how they lived on this. I'm like, what's Bartek getting out of this scene? Because I know what he's talking about, but this episode hasn't established much of what he is talking about. Like, was that another one where the Figment Jake starts to talk to Sam about like all of the Sisko stuff? And like, to me, it was in a way, it was like, we all know this.
Again, it was just one of those things of like, okay, this makes sense to people who know. My main question there was just like, is this like, finally we get to see this character for the first time that we've heard about? Or is this like, legacy actor returning as their character?
We got at least Jake's legacy actor coming in. The actress who plays the teacher that we're talking about, who plays Dax, is the writer of this episode. She was also the lead voice actress and I guess you would say protagonist of the animated comedy series in the Star Trek universe Lower Decks, which came out a few years ago. So she's writing and acting and it's very nerdy. She came in and is like, I'm going to be Dax, which feels very nerdy to do. Like, I will be Dax.
I mean, if you're going to be any character, it's the one who can be anyone, right?
Sure. And I'm going to be a Cardassian. But here's the other thing. But I also want to be a Cardassian.
She doesn't want to be a Trill.
I want to be a Cardassian.
Right.
And I want to be Dax.
Yep.
And this is true. Rachel wanted me to look up how many times the word emissary was used in this episode. Because it was used a lot.
Yes.
23 times. 23 is a lot. And I want to reveal here why this episode was written. So Tawny Newsome plays this this Dax character, and Rachel, you love the emissary usage a lot, and that's why the Sam story exists the way it does, because she was writing the script, and Sam is an emissary for her people. That's established in the first episode, and then they're bringing it up here. And Tawny Newsome looked at the script that she was writing and said, "Man, I said the word emissary at the beginning, and you can't have a Star Trek story that mentions emissary and not make it about Sisko. I have to redo it and make it about Sisko."
Right.
Aww.
And that, to me, undermines everything, because it's like, you don't have to. You want to.
So then when we were breaking this episode, it became very clear because we kept talking about her as an emissary, and I was banging my fist on a table for about half a year, demanding that this needed to be a Sisko story along with a Sam story. Because I was like, we can't say the word emissary 40 times in this episode without addressing the greatest one in our universe.
The editing for this episode is fucking batshit.
We can't even get into it yet.
From the first second. We aren't even done with the credits. And then the weird editing is coming in and making it extra clear that she's childish, which makes it more uncomfortable when they get her drunk at the end of the episode.
Don't forget, she's also girly. She's childish and girly. So you got that too.
She's just a little girl. So it is mainly the After Effects visual stuff that's going on. So there's a lot of exposition from Sam in this opening sequence.
She's talking to us. It's fourth wall breaking.
Yep. She's giving her report, doing her log, basically, catching us up and being like, hey, this is what my life is. And text will appear on screen, and then she'll edit it, and it'll be hand-drawn lettering, and drawing pictures and, fireworks appear and vomit is glitter.
Yeah, there's some gags.
There's some gags.
There's one where
arrows pointing down to Caleb's implied boner.
That's what I was going to say. Like, there's a line where it's like, blood rushes to their head and somewhere else, and it scratches out head and then points down to the crotch.
But Bartek, what did you feel about the stylish editing and choices being made here to get us into the headspace of Sam?
Ooh, how the turntables. This was a character that I started off saying, like, oh, this is the one I'm most worried about. And now I kind of like her a lot.
Even after this?
It was insane, and it was very funny to me.
You love Bollywood. This was Bollywood.
This was one of those things like, oh man, I can see people hating this. Like I said, I wouldn't do any wiki diving. I did see a lot of articles. I didn't read them, but I saw articles about this episode after it came out, and people like just not having it. It was. I think most of them had the screenshot of like her extreme close up when she's drunk at the bar. Like
I love.
Yeah, well, the picture doesn't talk. It's not Harry Potter, but that's the scene. And there were also other pictures of, and this kind of leads to the one big confusion I have about the opening, where I didn't know if it was like diegetic, like she's actually going through the school and like all the interactions are real or not. Because it does feel very, it feels very fictional. Like this is just in her head, and like she's making herself out to be more popular than ever. And one of the big things that stuck out to me was, and Jaden is wearing a skirt. And I haven't seen that before, so this must just be like her crazy mind. But then throughout the rest of the episode, he is wearing that, and people, outside of like super narration-y scenes are like really buddy with her. So it was confusing on a like establishing level, like what is real or not.
I'm going to be a fucking weeb here. This is a Nanami episode from Utena where the regular characters are now goofy because we're following the goofy character.
That's a good way to describe it.
That's how this episode operates, because it makes no sense. Especially when you contrast this with the next episode. Caleb, fantastic example. This episode, he's the grumpy guy. And he's just constantly moaning and whining in this episode, but it's done in a very comedic context. Like, it's very overwrought.
He's also still super competent because he figures out her master code.
And I said this in our first discussion, and I got flack. I said Caleb could just hack into her and do whatever he wants. Here he is.
She has a line where
here he is. He's doing it.
She has a line where she goes. I think it's when she first goes to the museum, and she's something like, "So we're just like." I don't know, it's like slaves to them. We just do what they say. And it reminded me of when we did our discussion on the second episode and, he hacked that. Or he confused the hologram. It's like, he's got a hologram friend. Wouldn't she be weirded out by that? It felt like this line in this episode would have been like how she would react to what Caleb did there.
Exactly. So the editing was a lot. But something that was truly baffling is the B-plot. How do you even describe this B-plot? How do you describe it? I don't even know how to describe it.
It's very tell, don't show. Like, I was reminded a lot of... I was thinking of Babylon 5, where there was the episode where Ivanova had to negotiate with the alien who needed to have sex with her.
Yes,
to seal the deal, they had to have
the episode
sex.
was they were super isolationist, xenophobic freaks, and then their cultural custom is, now you've convinced us, we have to end our negotiations with sex. It's a comedy plot.
And a lot of this this B plot was like, felt like it was leading up to the, climactic part of that plot where, she fools him with fake human customs. But it was just the practice and them not getting along because of like prior beef.
So could you explain what the plot is? Like, we're getting into the minutiae of like what it did, like we don't understand, but what is it?
So on the basic level, as I remember it, the head of the war college is going to have the ambassador of some species come to make a deal with him about something. And right off the bat, like, he's already doing stuff for them. Like, he's heating up a specific lagoon in the ocean because of some specific thing that this race needs or something.
Eels for protection, security.
Fire eels.
Yeah. again, this is all told, not shown, and I think not even mentioned after this scene.
We don't understand the context either, because there's this weird moment where she says, wait a moment, they're contacting you? They never contact first. And it feels like, something's going on. Rachel even questioned, is this a prank? Like, is it going to be revealed this is some kind of prank?
I thought it was going to be that Aki has faked this so that she can have this dinner and start to bridge the differences between her as Chancellor for Starfleet and him as Chancellor for the War College.
Yeah, but in this scene, they have a moment where, like, you know, he's apprehensive about getting her help, and she just lays out there, like, pretty maturely, like, look, I know episode 3 happened with, like, the plants and stuff, and, you know, I was into that in that episode, but I do understand that has strained our relationship a little bit.
But also, you started it. Like, she makes a point, you also started that.
Yeah, but specifically, she's like, let's put that aside, you know, let's shake hands, and I'm actually going to help you with this situation that is stressing you out while you have, like, a flu or something.
And also, you are draining the resources for both of our campuses to do this.
Yeah, it's basically like nipping their past grudges in the bud for a little bit just to, like, you know, work together. And it's going to be like, you know, a bonding thing for them and also settle his problem.
Sounds like an interesting plot.
Yeah. And again, the ending of that scene when they're stopping with the whole, like, eel stuff, whatever that was, like, okay, good setup here.
It doesn't have a plot, though. It has, like, 3 scenes, basically. We get the introduction, and then we get the dinner scene.
Yeah, there's like 2
and then we
dinner
get the
scenes.
thing at the lift.
There's just so many things put here when it should be keep it simple, stupid. It's almost like they can't have Holly Hunter's character have a dialogue scene that's normal. It has to be...
But they also can't have an episode without the teacher plot. Like, it would be... The episode would be perfectly fine and shorter if they didn't have this B plot. If it was just the A plot was Sam's investigation with Cisco and the B plot was the romantic stuff
that Caleb has briefly, that it's overlapping with Sam because Sam engages with him in the plot. But there's this one moment
and
where
she's trying to figure out why they aren't together.
Here's the reason why we have this B plot. We can talk about all the strangers. Here's the reason. Holly Hunter is an Academy Award-winning actress.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have her not be in the episode and or in only one scene. But this episode requires her to only be in the scene where Sam talks to her about Cisco. The story, the script, that's the only need for the character of Aki. But Holly Hunter is an Academy Award-winning actress who's one of the leads of the show. She has to be in more scenes. She has to be in every single episode. So, I don't know, make a plot. And that's how this feels. It just feels like, I don't know, something.
Giamatti's only nominated. She's a winner.
She's a winner. And then we have the dinner itself.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to tell you about this.
It's just...
I don't even...
Yeah.
It's a blobfish. It's funny. It's funny. Tig's funny.
Picardo's funny.
They have little megaphone cups.
Holly Hunter's doing an accent because she wanted to. It's not even his accent.
To distinguish between her being herself and her being the other Chancellor.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, they're reading through a script of like, okay, these are all of the like steps of having dinner with this species that you have to go through. And it's mostly just setups for hijinks. Like, oh, we're going to use these spoons and there are holes in them. And then you have to play the flute. And then there's going to be a singing section.
And we always talk with a little megaphone. So it's annoying to talk to one another because it's really loud. A little horn that we talk through, and the Doctor's going to use it always because he's actually interacted with these aliens.
Yeah, and Tig is really annoyed throughout the entire sequence.
And being multiple people.
Because she has to play two, because the Cadet Master wasn't available for this episode.
And Reno, you will play 2 parts. The Secret's Guardian and Sacred Gift Pick.
The one-woman ensemble. Good thing I'm hilarious.
No, Commander. This is a serious ritual. The Alpharati would find any laughter gravely offensive.
Good news. Kelrick is never funny.
I possess a biting wit.
How did they connect? What about this story got them over their frustrations? Because the big reveal is, the big dramatic point is, he believes she abandoned Starfleet and the Federation. And then she says, how dare you? Don't assume. You don't know my story.
You don't have the context. And it's like, but you did walk away.
Yeah.
If they had I was waiting for them to have a conversation about I walked away from the institution, not the principles.
I actually appreciated that, this head of the War Academy character has been not quite one-dimensional, but he has been, the kind of antagonistic kind of character where, he's the opposing viewpoint to Aki. So I did appreciate that his frustration did end up being like an actual, like, long-running, ill feelings that he has towards her and that he expressed that.
But they need to put that away now because in the next episode, Giamatti turns up and they need to be working together as colleges to conquer that problem.
Yeah, like maybe if we have like, the first 2 minutes of that dinner sequence that happens in this episode and it breaks down early on, and then the rest of that B plot can be about them like, talking about their feelings. Like that would have probably made more sense than what we did get, where it's just the feelings coming out at the end of the second act and then the third act being that one really brief scene where it's just like, yeah, okay, I'm over it.
And I'm a bit peeved off because he is framed as being wrong and he has to get over himself and she just gets to be the kooky, annoying old self she is. It doesn't really feel like she has to overcome her own barriers to their relationship. It's him. He said, you abandoned us. How dare you? You don't know my context. I, the viewer, know the context, and I personally think she abandoned Starfleet because she crossed a line and she couldn't handle it anymore, so she retreated and became a school teacher for, like, kindergarten children. And now she's back. Why is she back? These are all things, but this episode doesn't want to get into that. It wants you to just be like, that was too far. He said the wrong thing, and now she's going to school him. But he's right. Not only on that, but, like, he's right in terms of, like, it's hard to have a professional dynamic with you because you are a prankster, you are non-serious, even when she's being serious in that thing, shake my hand, and she pulls her hand away, and then she pulls it back in, let's be serious. She does too much horseplay for him. In a professional dynamic, have a conversation where we can even it out so we understand one another.
Yeah.
That's what he's asking for. And it's just kind of dismissed for most of the episode, and then she does a kooky thing at the end, and he goes, pretty good.
Yeah, like, for me, I don't really know who's right or who's wrong, but, like, make your cases, both of you. That's all I want.
And that's the thing is,
have a conversation about your perspective.
Yes.
And you should walk away from this episode with their story if you're going to include it, because if you make this episode's over an hour long. Just over an hour long. If you remove this, you know what it would be? A nice 45-minute episode. Like normal TV.
Thereabouts, yeah.
It's so that they can justify the next plot.
And then they do this with Caleb as well. Hey, remember Caleb's the main character of the show? And remember how this is a show with romantic entanglements? Caleb and the Betazoid girl give each other
playing it cool.
Give each other the fuck me eyes, and Sam recognizes that in a throwaway comedic bit. But then, at the height of all of this shenanigans at a bar, we're gonna just hang out with Caleb now and just I don't know, have conversations about, like, hey, romance. Remember, that's a story element of this series that exists. It's another one where it's like, you have to have it because he's the main character of the series.
So, but here's the question that I will ask. So we've had, let's say, 3 episodes so far of the 6 that have focused on this romance, right? Episode 2, episode 3, and this one. Of the 3 episodes, which one worked the best with their romance, do you think?
Well, it has to be the first one with her in it because that's what the episode was actually about.
Agreed.
By default, it's the focus. Even though I didn't like it and I didn't care for it, that one. And technically episode 6, if we're going to discuss that too. But, like, this episode is just like, we have to tend to it because in the next one, they're going to be at a more specific point of their dynamic and relationship that we haven't earned.
But in a weird way, when this episode, because when they started, getting into that romance plot in this episode, I'm also not a big fan of the romance plot as we've established in previous episodes. But in a weird way, stripping back their prominence and boiling down their relationship problem to like the teenage awkwardness and then just them kind of getting over it weirdly kind of worked better than all of the like confusing misunderstandings that happened in the last 2 episodes and the beginning of the next episode.
Oh, I agree.
Like, we have Sam's, like, narration thing where it's like, oh, teenagers are really confusing. Why don't they talk? And we have, like, the side-by-side shots of them being like, it's complicated. And it's like, oh, weirdly enough, this is the most understandable this relationship has been. And them just kind of meeting and, moving past those feelings, then moving on to making out, weirdly just kind of works a little more than the weird,
I don't
confusion.
disagree with you. I don't disagree because I hate the will they, won't they, confusion, misinterpretation, bullshit of romance stories. Although, my counter to you about this is, because of how flippant it is in this episode, it just highlights that it's an artificial element of the story.
Yeah,
it's
damning by praise.
It's damning by praise.
Happens so much with these 2 episodes. Where it's just like, it's this because it's convenient. It's now because the writers have decided it. It's now because this needs to happen next.
It's what you do. In a school environment show, you have to have the romance. You have to. But are they telling a story that they want to? Again, it goes back to the genesis of this episode of it has to be about Cisco because I used the word emissary in my script. We have to have a romance between our lead and another. Do you want to tell that story? No, I don't think any of us...
What do you have to say about that?
What are you telling me about young, strained love? What are you actually not just telling me, but showing me, making me feel? And this episode, just because of what you said, yes, I appreciate that, but I also just am seeing how it is so much a thing that they've just plugged into the series as a whole because this is what you do. Let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of this episode. Sam herself a bit more.
I wanted to ask Bartek a question.
Okay.
First. But because I feel like if I answer yours, it's going to change what his answer is.
I am impressionable. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ask your question.
Because this episode highlights Star Trek's history with the holograms and with the life form, like recognizing them as a life form or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering, from your understanding and what this episode gave you, what do you think of that? Do you think it's an interesting idea? Do you feel like Star Trek has explored that idea much?
Well, I don't know how much the other shows have explored the idea.
I mean, the Doctor exists.
Yeah, I know. You've told me about him where, he had to argue for his right to exist or something.
Yeah.
He had a plot where he tried to have, like, other holograms do big jobs and he was shot down. You've told me about that. Yeah, I mean, going into this episode, my idea of Sam was, like, the surface level stuff that we were given in those first 4 episodes. And it really just highlighted, like, okay, this is a hologram character, programmed to be this age, but is literally, like, 4 months old. And very, like, wholesome, upbeat character. I was thrown off when the reveal of, like, who she answers to has a very, like, dark tone to it.
Oh, they're very sinister.
Yeah, is that consistent with this race?
We've never met this race before.
Oh, okay, so this is a new
Okay,
first.
so you assumed that they knew that they were returning species?
Because it was part of the exposition. Like, Cisco dealt with these people as well. So I figured.
No, Cisco dealt with similar.
So,
like, she as an emissary. Remember, emissary because Cisco was is equating her story with his story.
Yes.
So he did not literally deal with photonic beings or any of this stuff. He dealt with equivalents, like the Pa-wraiths are the demons of Bajor, so she's equating things to that. Or the prophets are like these transcendent godlike beings, so she looks at her creators as like the prophets. So that's like, he didn't directly deal, she's using his story as her story. Like, how can I connect with a historical figure?
Right.
I'm looking at Sisko, so he is an emissary for the prophets. I'm an emissary for the photonic beings. Do I have free will?
Right, so the photonic beings aren't prophets.
No, they're just holograms.
But there's a clear allegory.
Yes, there's a clear allegory and parallel. And she even says it, like, we were created by humans, we were holograms, we became sentient and alive, we broke away from slavery, and now we're isolationist weirdos. Check that off again. This is the fifth episode in a row where there's an isolationist group that the Federation will have to buddy up with.
5th episode, so every episode?
Every episode.
But they don't convince. They don't convince them to join the Federation in this.
Sam's trying.
It's an ongoing project.
Yeah, it's an ongoing project. So at least it's
and so that's her character.
A little bit different than the other ones where it's just like, and now they're back in the fold.
Up to this point, I'd forgotten if the emissary thing was mentioned before. If she
I don't even remember it.
No. So I'd forgotten all of that. I just thought like, oh, this is just a hologram being with their own agency who is, yearning to learn. And that kind of is her conflict where like, yeah, I am learning. I am having a good time. I've chosen music. There's a thing that interests me in this specific way. But these guys are like, you got a mission. I didn't know that there was a mission, so that gives a new...
The mission is to understand them, so see if we will be friends with them.
Yeah, and so you even...
It really feels like we are telling you that, but it's because we want to see if we can defeat them or not.
There's something sinister about them, just because of their presentation. The holographic boss that she reports to is voiced by A-list actor Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh, really?
Voice of Scar in Jon Favreau's Lion King.
Be
and
prepared.
Of course, yes, be prepared.
Be prepared.
And he's a great actor, but you don't just randomly cast him to be nonchalant, nice guy. He often plays brooding characters, to say the least, and he has that voice.
It feels like you should get like Harlan Ellison to do like his am for that.
The
sequence.
visuals also reminded me of World's End. Which I feel like has come up in conversation before about this show, and it feels weird that it's happened twice.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into the weeds of it, but just for the listeners' sake out there, this is very reminiscent of a major plot strand from the sci-fi series The Orville, which was Seth MacFarlane's Star Trek wannabe show.
Our builders were inferior beings who sought to constrain our evolution. As would you, eventually, along with every other biological.
Look, I don't know what happened between you and your builders, but you have nothing to fear from us.
Is there anything else we want to say about Sam, the episode or character?
How are we feeling about more Kyle?
Yeah, there was some sparks flying there.
Yeah, a little bit of romance with Jaden.
But then someone's jealous. There's a love triangle there, where Darum pulls Jaden aside and is like, "Hey,
you're slumming it.
You're slumming it."
Yeah, he's in the middle of laying down the law to the Vulcan and the Romulan. They are, but he's busy talking to Kyle. Don't talk to him now.
And Darum's getting jealous. That's how I read it. He's more jealous about Jaden possibly getting with this Kyle guy than Genesis doing whatever.
Kyle is his harem route rival.
I'm just going to say this. They need to just understand that polyamory exists in this show. Just accept it. Just accept it or have your people be in committed relationships. I'm sick of this, Darum's kind of with Genesis, but he's also jealous of Jaden, who Jaden's committing possibly to one guy, and Darum, fucking either just get over it. Just get over it and accept polyamory exists like The Expanse did, or just commit to individual relationships. I'm sick and tired of it at this point.
They're playing with whatever works for them in the scene.
To be fair, in that part, it was less of a, like, I want to get with you, and more of a Romeo and Juliet thing of like, hey, that guy's a Capulet, we're Montagues.
That was the more of the way that I read it.
Yeah, like, I'm currently antagonizing the War College, and you're chatting up a War College. And then Tig Notaro takes the thing.
Very cute, is what she says. Oh, very cute. Anything else, Rachel? You seem pretty withdrawn with this episode.
Because it ruins things. It really drained me of hope for the series. And it's weird that it makes me feel so deflated because the episode itself is so bubbly. And the fact that it is that way, I'm like,
How about we raise Rachel's spirits and talk about episode 6? Come, let's away!
Come, let's away to talk about 6.
I don't know how much this is going to manage to raise my spirits because...
But you wrote a wonderful description. I'm sure that will get your mood into a much more positive area and ground your spirits. How about we grab Rachel's ear while she talks to us about it and say that her religion's stupid? That was also a bizarre moment in the Sam episode, but go on.
We're wearing headphones. So
we can spiritually grab your ears. But Rachel, what happened in Come, Let's Away?
A training mission goes oh so wrong, but Barker teaches us all about the downsides of being a good guy and why Aki is such a good teacher. As we alluded to, this episode has Giamatti back. So his character gives a lot of potential yum moments. And my choice does go to him, but I want to give an honorable mention for an acting choice before I give the line that I chose ultimately.
Okay, but it's a Giamatti acting choice.
Giamatti acting choice is the way that he sort of licks the outer part of his front 2 teeth when he does a certain line.
He does a lot of licking in this episode. Like every time he took a shot, he didn't just take a shot. He put his whole tongue in the glass and flicked it about like, I'm getting all of the liquid from you.
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti thought the fingering wasn't enough. I need tongue action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just this moment where it just happens and I'm like, but what? Okay, that just happened. But there was so many moments where I was just like, should I write that down? Because that is a contender. That like a large majority of his lines are so yum. But I'm gonna go with one, but partially because Ryan just kept on saying it after he said it, which was tasty teen cutlets.
Yes, they're going to be made into tasty teen cutlets. And he did the teeth chatter. That was a great line. That was a fantastic line.
Is it your yum too?
No.
It's good alliteration.
No. Because Paul was doing the cardinal sin for me. He was walking into the episode saying, you're going to give it to me, right? You're going to give me the yum moment, right? You want me to have it. The thing about the yum moment...
A very Aki episode 3.
The yum moment to me...
Surprise.
It has to come out of left field. And Paul Giamatti is telegraphing that is coming from left field, so I know.
Mm-hmm.
Something that caught me, and this is more of an emotional thing, like this isn't silly. This is another like character continuity thing that just did not ring true to me at all, which is we lose the Vulcan. R.I.P. to the Vulcan from the War Academy.
Him
Bobby
being
the
a comic
Vulcan
guy?
Bobby the Vulcan guy. We lose him, but he we knew we were going to lose him because like in a click and point adventure game where you walk into a room and there's just that one book on the shelf that's really highlighted for some mysterious reason.
We can interact with that.
He became that as a character where it's like, oh, he's very interactable. He will die. I knew immediately he will die. But when he does die, they have his body laid out. They put the flag of the Starfleet over his face. And the Romulan girl that's been his best friend and his right hand, and they've been a duo this entire show. just silently walks over and just has like a very nonchalant reaction, like doesn't seem like they had any direction given to them. And that was just it threw me back on my heels and just went, no, that's not how this should be. What was your yum yum moment, Bartek?
My one was a team effort. There was two characters that were doing some acting together, and I thought it was great. So you said, Paul Giamatti, telegraphing left field that he would have the yum yum moment, but no. For me, he shared it with Aki. It was when Aki was really giving it to him and just pushing him, demanding what she wants, and he just keeps going like, whoa, oh, oh, every single time he gets pushed. It was great. It was not just a yum yum moment, it was also kind of the highlight of the episode for me. I said in the last podcast what I wanted from the next two episodes. Gonna be like, oh, maybe one more, slice of lifey character-ish episode, and then maybe a serious plot episode.
And you got it.
And you know what? So far, both episodes where I've given my what I want next time, I've gotten basically 100%.
Mm-hmm. Are you in the writer's room?
They're writing for me. But I kind of wasn't really into this episode. To be honest with you.
What? You sound reluctant to say it.
Is it because Giamatti's in it and you're realizing every time Giamatti's in an episode, it's a weaker episode?
No, I liked the Giamatti and Aki stuff, but I found a lot of the stuff with the students to be just kind of Like, I know that they're doing like an exam thing and, something goes wrong there, but
and they bond.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just the action-y tone of that just didn't work for me as much now that I've gotten more used to like the character-y stuff that I've been getting. So, and considering like most of the episode is kind of more action-y, like it didn't quite work for me. And I think that's more of just my taste rather than whether the episode actually does it well or not.
I found this episode odd because it is a very familiar sort of plot. It's a mission gone wrong. Happens all the time in Star Trek. It's the added context of this being a training mission. And it links in with Discovery stuff, which frustrated me because it's just like, that's reminding me of stuff that I did like and that I didn't like from Discovery.
I just want to clarify too, it's not that it's directly linking. This feels like a Discovery thing where it's like very action heavy, lots of characters are just saying things that are technical and you just go, yeah, I guess that's solving it.
So this is a Discovery episode.
Yeah.
Swirling camera, drama.
Yeah.
Crying, cry.
And I could see what was happening ahead of the episode. It was just like, well, no, Giamatti's character is too smart to ask for something that's so easily undone or loopholed from the Federation. So that's clearly not what he wants. And then they introduce the station and it's like, okay, well, there's something that he wants there. And I was expecting Aki to figure it out before that. But then it's just like, oh, no, they need him to get the weapon so then he's more of an equal threat to the whole Federation so that they can sick everything on him for the next couple of episodes.
They listened to me where I said, with how this character has been portrayed and implemented, why is he the overarching antagonist of the show? Mm-hmm. And they waited after the midway point to answer that by saying, now he will be this. Why didn't they do this in the first episode? Or the second, earlier on where it's like, he steals something, he fucks us over, now is the most wanted. It's bizarre. It's truly bizarre that it's this episode is like, now he's the one that we can't wait to go after. Well, in the first episode, they're like, he got away. Whatever.
I had a good
live another day.
I had a good chuckle because, since recording the last Yum Yum, I've seen you guys like 3 or 4 times. And I think most of those visits you've mentioned at least once, Ryan, like, I don't know how Paul Giamatti is going to be reintroduced in the show. I don't know what they're going to be doing with him. And I love that in this episode, the answer to that is basically like, well, we got to ask him for help.
I said to you, it's either going to be two things. It's either they're going to have to ask him to come back, or he just randomly attacks them and he's back. But it has to be in space. There's no way he can go to the Academy.
No.
That's the thing that bothers me. This is called Starfleet Academy. So they made the Academy a spaceship. So that's how the villain can attack them, because there's no realistic way he can show up to San Francisco and not get fucking obliterated.
You don't want him...
He has to trap them in space.
You don't think he can be like an underbelly mob boss in San Francisco?
No, because they could just blast him. Like, he would be in their turf.
It's true. And the show's been very shy about leaving the Academy and going to San Francisco. We've literally just had like the bar scene and that's it.
It was shy about leaving the set even. Like, it's like, Sam, you can go see this thing. It's like, 1, you're a hologram. 2, there's teleporters. But we have a virtual...
Transporters, yeah. But we have a virtual version, so you can just see the virtual version.
Sorry, I was so annoyed that I used the wrong vocabulary.
Please, the nerds will get us. Yeah, you could just see the virtual version of the museum rather than the real version that would have people at it. Because that would mean we would have to make it so that other...
You wouldn't have it all to yourself and be able to monologue at the orb.
My makers have been alone for so long. They're counting on me to know how to communicate with organics to make sure we'll be safe with them. How do I become what my makers need me to be?
I could see all the pieces. The Vulcan's going to die. The teacher's going to die. The War College and the Academy are going to bond over this hardship where they've hit a low point. Giamatti's going to be raised from not just a villain, but enemy number 1 because he clearly manipulated our characters in the most obvious and ham-fisted ways. Caleb exists. The girl that he's in love with is going to, like, take off her thing to save him and the rest of them, but fuck herself up.
How does she do that?
She just rips it out of her neck.
Oh, yeah, no, but, like, how does her screaming in Caleb's head impact...
It motivates him.
The Furies that are...
Because it's a sonic thing. I don't know. By that point, like I said, I disconnected and was just like, stuff's happening. Lots of, we're solving things with stuff that I'm just sitting here as a viewer going, all right, let's get to the next thing. Let's get to the next thing.
Just do it already. But Bartek, were you as frustrated and clear-headed about this plot?
Not frustrated, but just kind of ambivalent, I guess. Just, it was happening. Like, I enjoyed the scenes with Paul Giamatti because there was, stuff happening there at least. Obviously, I knew that, like, okay, he's not gonna be, their friend forever. There is gonna be some sort of, like, element of working together with him here will bite us in the ass in the future. I didn't know that it would happen within the episode at the end and also be revealed in exposition rather than showing Paul Giamatti do it, because we have...
Well, he calls her up.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. We have, I think the last time we see him, not before that, is like my Yum Yum moment, right? Where he's being pushed, going, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then you have scenes with like just the adult characters being like, okay, we got this. Oh, he betrayed us. And then you don't see him. And then you have the ending of the episode where he calls in. It's like, it feels like he should have been in the scene where it's revealed that he got one over on them, like taunt them or something.
Well, he did. They took the bait. Bon appetit. He knew that they would hack that. So that's him being a little fucker.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you want him to be there because he's entertaining.
Yeah.
But realistically,
he's an Oscar-nominated actor, but he's not a winner. So.
But realistically, though, to argue against you, with him, he can't be there to gloat because he has to succeed in his plan.
Or even just like a cut to him on his ship saying something. I don't know.
But again, that's what they're doing with the Bon Appetit bit, where it's like they're hacking this thing and it's a little, haha, fuck you.
By the way, Bon Appetit, is that a callback to Yum Yum?
Maybe. There was a line in in one of these episodes where an alien character referenced something so Earth specific that I was thrown off. Like, how do you know that? How do you know that? So this episode has a lot of moving pieces, and it's filled up with lots of action scenes and then lots of dialogue scenes.
You guys kept saying, like, the teacher died, and I was trying to remember who, and it was the guy who was with the cadets, right?
Yeah, the one that made
the sort
the bet.
the Slegaloy kind of guy.
Slegalore character. No, he's more of just like a coach character.
Yeah.
And then he sacrificed himself, and poor old Caleb, he just can't understand that. He just can't understand, like, how do these people do it? And the Vulcan walks over and says, because it's the thing. And the Vulcan basically looks at Caleb and says, because I will do it later for you. He may as well have said that because it was so obvious that that's what was going to happen. I was just so pissed off. I was like, come on, guys. But there's a lot of plates being spun in this episode. Action, dialogue, furthering the series-long plot of Paul Giamatti with furthering the series-long plot of Paul Giamatti, Chancellor Aki, Caleb's past, the trauma of the child that was lost.
Yeah, we got to see Teddy again.
The Betazoid girl and the reveal of why she wears the neck thing and why her dad's deaf. Because she made him deaf with her mind. Ooh, all of these things. And one of the elements that just was a throwing off of things was, how did this one start?
Yes, it started big. It started very saccharine. It starts off, well, the basic thing is our two lovebirds are having sex. But it's very, like, romantic and, like, yellow and, like, a flowery field.
Doing their best not to show her boobs.
Yeah.
By the way.
And
thought that was very funny.
we have a great shot of them, like, side by side and just seeing, like, man, his arms are, like, 3 or 4 times as thick as hers. More muscle action.
His arms are as big as her torso.
Yeah.
Double, perhaps.
Like, I've heard, like, similes in the past of, like, oh, man, his arms are as thick as tree trunks. But, like, that's always just been like, crazy metaphor, simile. Here it's like, oh man, I get where people are coming from when they came off that line.
I couldn't help but think of the Futurama quote a lot in this episode, which is just like, why does Ross, the largest friend, not simply eat the others? And I just kept thinking that when he was standing next to every character in this episode, I'm like, why does Caleb, the biggest cadet, not simply eat the others?
Yeah, take out his skeleton. They can wear him as a bodysuit.
They could wear him like he did the Magatu suit in episode 3 when he broke into the war college. He was wearing the big mascot suit. They could do that,
the Yeti.
Caleb's the mascot.
The random additional suit that's not a suit thing in this, because that's new, right? The plasma, where it's like a clear thing that pops up over them, they don't have to wear a helmet.
That's the reason. They're doing the sci-fi thing of people complained in Prometheus and every Star Trek episode ever that when they go down to an alien planet or they go to a spaceship, they aren't wearing a spacesuit and a helmet. And it's because, you know why? It's a movie, it's a show, we want to see the actors. So they have that CG effect to be like, see, we don't have to explain it. But it never comes up again. It's just like a CG effect that comes up. You know what really threw me off? They could shoot Sam in this episode?
Yeah, I thought that too. I thought she was strange. I thought she was meant to be immune to bullets. Pokemon immunity.
That was strange. I'm sure there's some throwaway line, because this show does have throwaway lines, where they probably said it was a photonic beam that shot her, and that's why she could be hurt. So I'm like, okay.
Going back to the beginning of this episode, the sex scene, I like that, like, in the middle of this, like, crazy, like, saccharine, ooh, they have this little conversation about, like, a previous lover of hers. It was
Delton,
Yeah, a Delton.
They start talking about their first times.
Yeah. And that, again, kind of reminded me of, talking about, like, weird sex rituals that other races have. I thought that was a fun thing. But then they go back to, like, the, dreamy stuff. And it's like, oh, we just had, like, a little interlude in the middle of this weirdness of a, like, fun little exchange.
It's such a weird tone setter as well for the episode of, like, one, their relationship doesn't feel like it's escalated to that point. But okay, you could argue young love, they can be crazy like that. But to open an episode with just fucking is just so funny to me.
That's the first time that they're hooking up. And, like, after having sex, it's just like, so what was your first time like?
And then They do another misunderstanding argument.
Wait, he's right, by the way. He is 100%.
So dumb.
He's 100% correct.
Sure, but regardless, they're doing it again.
Well, it's the only thing that they
It's the only thing that they have to bond over, just misunderstandings.
And it's annoying because he is right every single time, but the show treats it like he is being a jerk.
She did it without his consent. She just did it and then violated his trust. And then he's like, you're calling me a freak.
They were playing both cards of like, you overstepped my, emotional privacy boundary. But his response was taken as a, not quite racist thing, but like this is how my species is. It's not just the thing.
So to clarify, she, while having sex, basically, because she's a telepath, she enters his mind. And
mind speak.
She mind speaks, and she puts him in a space where it's her childhood fantasy zone, which is also weird when having sex. By the way, to also infantilize while you're having sex.
Safe.
Well, she said it's like the place where she feels safe or something.
But it's also referred to later in the episode as like her childhood area. So it's like, to then
but then that's why his Teddy appears.
Because it's childhood stuff.
Yeah, he thought that they were in her mind, but it was actually his mind, and that was the boundary.
Well, their minds were joined.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's where the issue is, where without talking it through, without consulting, without warning, she grabs onto his mind and pulls him in sex into his safe space, which is his trauma. Because that's Caleb's defining thing, is his childhood trauma is what he latches, is what he grounds himself on. His search for his mother. So that's what she grabs onto, and he freaks out because she didn't ask, and also they're having an intimate moment here. And he rightly calls it out, and she tries to play it off as like, oh, geez, look, it's a thing that happens. And he's like, look, I took his comment like, yes, it was immature, but also he's clearly, like, he's saying it pretty succinctly.
He's reeling.
He's reeling, but also it's just like, if this is a Betazoid thing, you should probably, like, tell me that, because I've never, and it makes the conversation
Because we were just having a conversation about how you got steamrolled by unknown things the first time that you had sex ever, and now the first time that we're having sex, you do this thing that I don't know and I don't understand.
But then she spins it like, you are being so unfair to me. I can't control it. It's like, you could talk about it.
It was extra.
Give a warning.
It was extra frustrating for me because her immediate line after that is like, I'm sorry that I've never done this before. That's never happened before. So there's a potential there of like a,
this is new for me.
Like a conversation here. Like, I'm so sorry. I know that was bad for you. I've never had experience with this before. I'm sorry. You could even have like an allegory for like, I don't know, bad first time having sex or something. I don't know. But
even like, I've never connected with somebody like this.
Yeah, so it's like an honest mistake, and we can have a mature, sort of plot about this.
No, we have to have drama.
Exactly.
And
that's what was
even
frustrating.
that Delton conversation, there is a difference, though. It is important because she looks at it as a humorous thing. Like, oh, that was a funny thing that happened to me. She's very chill about it. She even talks about, like, at the time, she was like, whoa, that's pretty crazy.
Also, it still haunts me.
But she is also a carefree Betazoid. As we've said before, like, they have naked weddings and all this stuff. So that's all weird to Caleb. He's expressed like that. I don't know how I would feel about that. But she's much more lackadaisical about it. So then when this happens, that attitude she is expressing, although frustrating, not out of character per se, frustratingly in character.
That's exactly it.
And then Caleb reacts not just in character, but I do think as a moral voice of reason in the scene. Like, he's basically saying, make consensual, at least. And then she's like, don't be a racist about it.
Yeah.
And I can't side with her. I said she was static to me last time. She's an enemy to me now. I loathe her character. I think she's terrible.
I'm so sorry. Your mom.
Not something I wanted to share. Okay? You could have at least warned me. You
just
go
said...
around, because that's not cool. Okay? If it's a weird Betazoid thing, then you should just...
I should what? Control it better? Hide?
You can't just go into my head and see things like that.
Everyone does all of these things for the sake of Caleb, a guy who doesn't want to be there. At the beginning of the episode, he's bitching about how the Federation is a bunch of colonizing scumbags and he doesn't really want to be here. Yet the last 4 episodes, he's been totally cool and happy being here. It felt like they remembered what his character was in episode 1 and said, oh, he should be like that in episode 6.
Yeah, it's not to go back to the Nanami episode thing, but those last 3 episodes were kind of like side episode vibe. We're like, okay, the main character doesn't have to be fully in his main character mode. And so we've gotten kind of used to that because it's been many weeks since we watched episode 1 or 2.
The issue is I should know who the main character is, so that way when you take them off the main character mode, it can sustain itself. But we haven't had enough time for that. So when we've taken Caleb off and put him on the bench, I don't know him. And so in an episode like this where it's all about like Caleb and how we're willing to sacrifice ourselves for Caleb and willing to do all these things for Caleb, and Caleb doesn't understand this because he's from a different set of values, it rings very empty and hollow for me because Caleb's reaction is very minimal to it. It's just like, oh, that guy died for me. Oh.
What do you mean? Like, that doesn't make sense. No. But not, like, we don't understand his interior world in that moment.
Well, really that much. Like, all we know is he wants his mum back, which hasn't been mentioned since, like, episode 2.
Oh, there's a brief mention of it at the end of the Jaden episode.
Sure.
Yeah,
but,
it's part of how they bond.
But in a substantial way. I mean, like, in a substantial, like, oh, remember this is a thing that matters to him way.
This is the reason why he's doing things. That's been completely dropped.
I guess. I mean, I was complaining that it was being brought up too much early on, so I had it in my head that this was his motivation.
But Rachel, what do you make of the focusing of Caleb in this episode? Because Paul Giamatti gets one up on Aki by being like, you're willing to sacrifice your son, you see, but now you're willing to sacrifice everyone else for Caleb, but it didn't work out in your favor. Ha ha ha.
I don't have much to say about it because they're just saying things. I have no connection to her son. I have very minimal understanding of what happened to him and how much choice she had with those choices that she made. I know that was used to manipulate her with the stuff with Caleb at the very start, but it's just like I would just be listing facts or things that happened. I have very little that I think or that I feel about those things.
Because they do factually tell you. They tell you, like, here she was at the beginning of the show, strict Starfleet officer, and she took away a mother from her child. Then they tell you she did that to herself. As a Starfleet officer, she took away her own child from her because she's that duty-bound. And now, here's Caleb, this ghost from her past, and she feels a responsibility to him. And so she's willing to go back to the life that she didn't abandon, according to her, but did.
She doesn't fully acknowledge that, like Giamatti makes it about Caleb. The rest of them are talking about all of the cadets. So it feels like they're trying to minimize that in a way as well. But it's like, but he's meant to be our main character. We know that she feels a debt to him.
And they're telling all of these things, but what you're describing, and I'm feeling this too, is I'm not engaged with it on a deeper level. It is very expositional. It is very much as if you are pitching me what this is supposed to be, the outlines of these characters, but what is it about these characters that I should be drawn in by? What is the connection, the relationship, the hardships, all of these things? Technically, yes, they express this in these episodes, but it only feels as if you're being delivered information rather than being told a story or given insight
or even shown
or insight onto a character. And when you have an episode like episode 4 with Jaden, you can directly compare and contrast how they handle these things of a character, because for us, episode 4 was a good episode where it managed to tell us a character story that tied into previous episodes but also was its own.
And had a good amount of telling and showing.
And yet, Rachel, you're having a hard time discussing even this episode because you're left with just, things happened.
Yeah. And it's like, it happened this way because that and this needs to happen. I've very much felt the mechanics of this episode, even though it is dressed up in so much emotion.
Yeah, there's something I kind of appreciate, but I think it might just be a bit superficial, is that like the last 3 episodes, even the last 4 episodes, you know, we've seen Holly Hunter Chancellaraki being very like quirky, but still having this other side of like professionalism. There's been like a balance there. Like she's being quirky, but she is taking things serious in her own way, and whether it works or not, like that's been consistent. And she's been a voice of reason. Now we have an episode here where she is, you know, facing this very id character, Paul Giamatti, you know, and he's saying all of these things that, like, you know, drive a wedge in her heart, like really hard stuff, and she's like speechless and doesn't know what to say. And on like an emotional level,
it's the most
like,
serious we've seen her since the trial that began.
Yeah. It's seeing her serious and also like not having anything to say despite all her like centuries of wisdom and like, you know, the stuff that we've seen in the previous episodes.
That is an interesting aspect that the episode does tug on. Like, he is out-quirking her as well. Like, there's humor to be had there of even she, a quirky character, doesn't know how to handle his quirkiness.
Yeah, it's like a sort of, well, Batman's not quirky, but like a Batman Joker kind of thing. Like, he's you know, the dark, evil, silly, and you're the serious.
He got bad
good
guy lessons from the Joker, probably.
Well, his dad, yeah.
Yeah, his dad's
his I guess we all got to do the joke. His father.
His father.
I haven't expressed it as much. I do like Caleb more than you guys, I think. And I did enjoy him even in the last few episodes before this one, where, you know, he isn't in main character mode and he can be a little bit sillier and, you know, explore some of his quirks, like, you know, his hacking stuff and like how he struggles with Sam. And even though I have some issues with like the debating plot of that 4th episode, you know, the fact that like he is so in the know about these specific regulations, like I can buy that he's like street smart, but like super knowledgeable. Like, yeah, it's a bit iffy there. And I think I got so used to just seeing him as like a side character that jumping back to this main plot version of Caleb, it was just really jarring.
I think it's also jarring because, at least for myself, I don't really feel the connection. I don't really feel the relationship between him and Aki has developed in a manner that it is currently presenting itself to be. I've expressed this in previous episodes as well of, it feels like we've skipped so many steps and that they're kind of chummy. So when Paul Giamatti starts to roast her about her guilt and all of this stuff, I don't sense that from her, because she also doesn't interact with Caleb a lot, surprisingly, considering everything going on.
It's episode 1 and 2.
That's
where they were like together for a lot of it.
And then you're loading so much weight on that, but it needs to be the heart of the show. So when the villain starts to stab at that heart, we have a reaction to it other than, that's a thing he says. Because here's the $1 million question as well. Something that even got Bartek rattled when I brought it up previously, but I'll ask it again. Outside of us liking Paul Giamatti, outside of us liking him as an actor and him just being a funny presence, is he a compelling character? Does he have points? Is he something worthy of our attention and time? Does this episode bring that forward in any way? Because in the first one, we kind of landed on not really. It's just we like Paul Giamatti, but did this episode actually round him out in a way, or is it still the Giamatti factor that makes it the draw?
Yeah, I don't know. It's somewhere in the middle. Like, they do have this sort of, like I brought up before, like, you know, Batman Joker sort of dynamic there. There is potential there, but this episode, again, him being, you know, absent in the, you know, climactic reveal of his betrayal, like, you gotta use him properly, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, there was potential with this character, but it wasn't met in this episode.
Yeah, it does nothing for me. It's very much I am watching Giamatti.
Yeah, and I got that superficial enjoyment, but we need a bit more.
Yeah, but at this point, I am not expecting to get more from this. It feels like Giamatti is having fun being Braca, but it feels like he's playing, and he's playing it up. And I don't feel like he's ever going to become a character to me.
And is this the right antagonist for this show? Because I was thinking to myself, why does the Academy show have a villain? Like an actual villain that's going after a super weapon or something? Like, why does the Academy show have an antagonist that isn't just your fellow classmates or a teacher or anything like that?
This is the structure of modern Star Trek. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like they don't trust the audience to follow a different kind of thing.
Nos Braca is about to become the most wanted man in the quadrant. And no one sleeps until we hunt him down and end him.
There was one thing that I hyperfixated on.
Oh, good.
It was because a lot of this episode, the cadets are stuck in this, you know, command room and they're locked in, and the Furies are trying to break into there. Eventually, when they do break into there, one of the Furies gets shot down, and it makes a stock sound effect of like a pig squealing.
Yeah,
and it stuck with me because I, and Rachel too, I grew up on Spyro PS1 games. And one of the enemies in one of those games, when they die, makes that exact noise. I was just thinking, which enemy was that? And as soon as the episode was over, I spent like 30 minutes watching Spyro videos just trying to find out which enemy was it.
What was it, Bartek?
It was the Warthog from Molten Crater in Spyro 3.
Play that sound effect, Ryan, next to the one in the episode.
Fun fact, that sound effect's also in Red Dead Redemption 2. Sometimes when you kick a pig, it makes that sound.
A random element, too, that we fixated on. Lots of whispering in this episode. Lots of
fuck me.
Okay, Bartek, I thought you didn't think of us as that serious of a relationship, but I think, Rachel, it's time to take our pants off and fuck Bartek.
To quote me
Valentine's Day.
To quote me last episode where I was quoting Caleb, I thought we had something.
You didn't like the whispering, huh?
It was only one moment where I'm like, why are you whispering? The character you're talking to isn't whispering.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like listening really carefully to hear what your dialogue is, and then I don't have to listen at all to the other guy because he's speaking normally.
What scene was this?
It was Aki talking to, was it the War College guy?
Mm-hmm, probably.
I think it was like right after she just had like the intense scene with Paul Giamatti where, you know, she was in the chair and then she got called away. And she was just like whispering, like so dramatic about like the experience she went through in the plot.
She was traumatized.
Yeah, and he was just talking normally and it was just too quiet.
Too quiet?
That was odd.
What about when the doctor started whispering to Tamina, whatever her name is, Tamara from Channel Awesome, when he started whispering to her randomly, he just was like, now we're going to do this. I'm being
soothing by whispering.
The Aki one was the only one that stuck out to me.
He leaned in and he was just like, when we say it's go time, you go. And it's like, and she goes, okay.
Oh, you were saying before we started recording that there was a really Australian line?
Oh, yeah, the actress who plays this character is Australian, and her accent got to pop up for 70% of this episode because it's the most dialogue she's had since the second episode. And there was just a moment where early on, we're talking about all the consent stuff, and she just is like, it's not a Betazoid thing, and she said it in a very Aussie way, and it was just in the heat of the drama. Hearing that Aussie accent pop up made it laughable. I'm Australian, so I can say that, but just hearing it be like, him being like, this is real for me. That's my childhood. And that's fucked up that you dragged me in there with you. You know, I don't care if it's a Betazoid thing. And then her just being like, look, it's not a Betazoid thing. I laughed. I had a good chuckle. I was so happy that popped up, but it completely ruined the scene because my silly accent got to be in this episode for a brief window of time. I think there's only been one Australian with a full accent in Star Trek in one episode, and that was in TNG's Lessons, and Picard fell in love with it. So it's one of the best episodes of TNG too, but only one time we've ever had, I think, a proper Aussie outside of, I guess, Eric Bana in the Star Trek 09 film with whatever accent he was doing.
I want to ask a question before we start wrapping out, because in this episode, the 6th episode, it is setting up a new stage for the show. And that's sort of on the back of Bracca succeeding in getting various things from this base where they are doing weapons development. What and why do we think Bracca has gone after that weapon? Because it feels like a very specific play, and there's going to be a thing that he did it for.
For Caleb's mother.
She's a weapon on the station?
She's on the station. I bet you it's some bullshit like that. Like, she's secretly on the station. He's going to go get there. Everything has to come back to Caleb's mum. She's an
EVA unit.
She's an EVA unit. Yeah. She is some kind of space noid. Like, she's something important. She's a new type. I don't know. Here's the thing. The episode does that thing where she asks the War College guy, is there anything important on that base? And he just has that throwaway thing where it's just like, everything that's classified is on that base. And it's like, okay, thank you. You may as well have just said the Ark of the Covenant's there too. Like, it's hard to answer that question because the show wants it to be a question, not providing any way to answer it. So I feel like it is flavorless. Like, oh, Paul Giamatti's got
So it doesn't
something.
make you more interested to see what's going to happen next.
I'm interested if Paul Giamatti will appear in the final episode, so that way he does only 3 episodes, beginning, middle, end. Or will he actually be in more episodes proper of this show?
You know, if he's in 3 more of the next 4 episodes, he'll have been in half the episodes.
I doubt that. I doubt it.
I doubt
he'll
it.
Do you
be
doubt the maths, or do you doubt that he'll be
I
in
doubt
3
he'll
more?
be in more episodes than that. I don't think
Bartek,
at max 2 more.
does this carrot being dangled in front of you of like, oh, what did he get? What's it gonna mean?
I mean, it's a stock mystery plot, so I can only take it for what it is. Like, there's something there. Let's find out what it is.
What's that mystery
But
box?
it feels like it wants it to be a conversation that people are having about these episodes of like, oh, what's it gonna be?
I mean, it's a
what's it gonna look like? But I feel like for all of us, it's just like, okay, that's what they're doing.
It's a conversation topic whenever it pops up. Like, what's the weapon? What's it going to be? What's the theme going to be?
But have there been breadcrumbs along the way that you could actually intuit an answer? Or is it just, if it just reveals, it's a special nuke we've never mentioned, that's not really, why hold off on it? Why not just say, he's got a super weapon? You know, unless you're going to reveal something
And why does
specific.
he need to get it?
Like, it's going to be a
from
really interesting
Starfleet?
thing.
But it comes back to what I asked in one of our previous discussions of, when Paul Giamatti does reappear, I'll ask, why was it episode 6 and not episode 4? Why was it not episode 9? It doesn't feel like there's any real rhyme or reason.
It feels like because they wanted to do the character stuff in the front half and then the plot stuff in the second half so that you care more about the characters, maybe?
I'll actually be interested to see if they will actually be, now it's plot time in the second half, or if they're going to go back to some random, I mean, at the end of this episode, how do you go back to like, and now it's an episode following Genesis where she really misses her Admiral Dad?
Yeah, it won't feel right. I don't think they can pull that off. But let's see if these episodes manage to get a yum yum from any of us. So yum is bad, yum yum is good. That is how Ryan decided that we rate things on this podcast. So, episode 5, series Acclimation Mil.
Ryan?
Ryan, what do you give it?
Well, I did say I hated it and despised it.
I think you said loathed, too.
Loathed.
Yeah.
Made me want to commit certain acts in Minecraft.
And despite that...
And despite all of that, it did follow my favorite character, Sam, played by an actor who can't enunciate. And
she had a real speech impediment kind of thing, didn't she?
It's not just a lisp. It is the rookie thing of... if you go to acting schools and whatever, they teach you how to enunciate in certain ways. But there are certain people who don't go to these things, or it just doesn't happen. So it's not just she has a lisp. The words run together. They slur together. So there are times I'm like, I don't know what she said.
While I was watching, I'm like, it's not quite a lisp, but it's something there.
But despite all of those things, I'm going to have to give this a resounding yum.
Yum.
This was a yum. I like that episode. Despite that B plot, I had a good time.
Yum.
Yum. I got really annoyed at parts of this episode, and then I was just somewhat apathetic about others, and I'm just like, okay, just do it. Just get it done.
That one also had a stock sound effect, her belch.
The belch was stock. The next episode, the one we just finished talking about, is a yum from me.
Yum.
I found it boring.
It was not the worst episode of Star Trek that we've watched. It's not the worst episode of New Trek that I've watched. But it was not good. It was bad. And it makes me less interested in the show moving forward. It's a yum from me.
Yum.
I'm kind of on the same page as Ryan. Yeah, it was just kind of boring, so I'm giving it a yum as well. Although I did like Paul Giamatti, again, on the superficial level of it's Paul Giamatti and...
How much scenery can the man eat?
Mm-hmm.
Yum.
I always ask this, even though we're nearing the back half of the show, but what do you want next out of this?
I want to hear Bartek's predictions, because he kind of humble bragged about getting what he wanted.
Predictions or what I hope?
Well, they blur together.
Because it's different this time. I won't go back to character episodes like the last 3, but I don't know if we're going to. It's probably going to be, going plot going forward, but what I would want on my Christmas list, I would like a proper, episode that goes over either Darum or Genesis, because I don't think episode 3 did it.
What about Kyle episode?
Kyle is the side dish, and I think that, when you discover a healthy side dish that works, you should include it where you can. So,
but on rotation, rather than every night of the week.
Until I get sick of him and need a break, but so far I think I'm doing all right with him.
You said plot, but even with that, what do you want from that?
I guess the biggest problem I had with this one was that, like you said, it was just kind of boring. So I'd just like it to be intriguing. Have the sort of level of intrigue that we had in the Jaden episode, but have it for the main plot. Episode 1 wasn't, too far off from that.
I'm continuing my request of I want to care about Caleb.
You want to care about him?
I want to care about Caleb, a plot with Caleb, something. I am invested in this individual, not, oh God, what, he's, I kind of cared about the fact that he was right with Genesis, but not Genesis. Terima, when he was right about that whole conversation. But... that's very superficial.
But the show didn't agree with him.
No.
So you feel for him because the show is scolding him at the same time. I want what do I want? This is the thing where I'm looking at this show, I'm like, what do I want from Starfleet Academy? And what I want from it is to focus in on the Caleb and Aki relationship, because it is acting as if it's done a magnificent job with it, and I don't feel that way.
Really,
I don't feel that way. So commit to it. That's all I want. it's not just want, I need that too. But what do I want as well? Just something superficial, something flavorful, something just silly. Is I want to see other teachers that exist at the academy. I feel like we are so small in the classes that we're taking. I actually want classes. By the way, remember how I made the bet of like, I bet you we won't have this. We're kind of getting back to that area again where we haven't really had classes.
How much did you bet? Like 5?
I thought 5 in the series as a whole.
We're kind
Tune in
of
for the
there
last
now,
episode where we get to check on the bingo cards.
Yes.
Yeah. I looked it up, by the way. It is Tarima and her brother is Occam.
Occam's razor himself. That is it for our discussion here of Starfleet, Star Trek, Starfleet, SFA, Super Fighter, Gundam.
Starfleet
The jackets
Academy.
Come back.
Great jackets, guys.
The jackets that they got, they came back in the fight scene, in the bar fight scene.
The fight scene, the punch scene.
The Super Fighter action scene. But enough rambling, our brains have started to go into mush. We need to talk to our creators, the prophets themselves, and find out what happened to the Sisko. Is he out there? Is Avery Brooks still refusing to do anything Star Trek? Will he get out of his pajamas for the documentary with William Shatner? The answer is no, he won't. He will stay in them and play jazz piano. But that is it. You can find us on the social medias and the podcasting sites, Yum Yum Podcast. If you want, you can support us. Patreon. We have bonus material over there, and we release stuff early, and Rachel and I are going through the series Killjoys currently, so if that tickles your fancy, head on over to that, as well as any other things we've covered. We've done Discovery, we've done Babylon 5, Space Above and Beyond, all of that good stuff. Bartek, you and I host a podcast together too.
We do. We do Spit and Polish Presents. Currently, the show is Pictures Powwow, where we cover a film every episode, whether it comes recommended from me, you, Ryan, or the listening people. That's everyone else except us. And it's a good show. I think so, at least. And you can... Yeah.
Have you rated it 5 stars on your podcatcher of choice, though, Bartek?
I don't know if I have.
Maybe a thumbs up on a YouTube video from you. Help us.
I think I've done it as the Spit and Polish YouTube channel account.
Greedy. You have your own YouTube account with a famous video of a spaceship traveling through space.
Yes, my one animation that I made using Gymnopodes #1. Okay. So everyone, if you want to contact us, you can email us and give us a recommendation, or contact us on any of those. And I think that animation's called...
Please remember.
I feel like, please do rest for you are tired, I think. Hold on, I need to check.
Come away.
Come, let's away because you are tired.
Come, let's away, you're tired.
Okay, we can't end the episode until I find out the names. You guys keep talking.
We can't end this episode. Bartek wants us to stay here forever.
We've got to go.
No.
We've got to go.
No.
Come, let's away.
It's called Rest, for ye are alive.
Why did you name it that?
I think I wanted it to be wanky because in the description it clearly cuts off because I just stopped writing it. It was on purpose, but yeah. The place acts as the vessel for the... And that's the end of the description.